I'll fall on the sword, man. I gave you about
Hey,
a minute's notice, and I usually give you 2. I apologize.
it's
How are you doing, brother?
man, yeah, it's just sometimes it's hard for these computer signals to find me in my man cave. It just takes a little more time.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's funny. Well, gosh, it's so good to see you, man. I really enjoyed our conversation last time, and it went viral for me. It's still going viral, and so much has happened in the news this last week. But that last week with the Bad Bunny and the Super Bowl and Kid Rock and everything. Did you happen to see the commercial Kid Rock and RFK did? They did a commercial where they're working out together and they're talking about eating whole foods and drinking real milk and moving, exercise,
yeah.
right? So kind of motivated me. The guy RFK, he's 72 or something, maybe more. He's in better shape than I am. It's no question. Pretty impressive. But so we have in the news, Don. Let me lay the landscape for you, and then we'll get your wisdom and insights on it. But we have robots fighting fires, literally in Dubai. We have 30 under 30 in Forbes this week. You don't have to be an old guy to make money. Apparently, they raised $8 billion, bunch of them, doing their different. What do you call it? What do you call the exploding companies? Unicorn companies. Okay, and then you have HP's got senior laptops. For the old guys who, let's say, they have still a pull on their lawnmower, Don, and they're easier to use, and they're 70% less frustrating. And they're enjoying that, because everybody should be online, right? Grok 4.20 is dropped. It gives you 4 AI agents, and it's smarter, faster, better than before. Did you see the $6 million man, Don, when you were younger? Were you young before, Don? I think he was.
I'm a man for all ages.
Okay. Let me think here. Okay, you got Mark Wahlberg did a call to prayer for 40 days, prayer and fasting for Catholics and for anybody who wanted to do that through that Hallow app, which apparently is the #1 app last year for prayer and that sort of thing. Kid Rock joining with Maha, shirtless workout, promoting health, Zuckerberg testimony. That's a big story, where on the one hand, you want to say kids can't go online without their parents' permission or something like that. But on the other hand, do you want laws controlling people's kids, right? But it's a big issue. It's important. I did see a post. If I remembered who it was, I'd give them credit. It may come to me, but I see so many posts and things. But I saw a post that said, give a student, before you give a student a laptop, give them a crayon. And it had a box of crayons and an old-fashioned piece of paper in the classroom. Other things to talk about, Don, you got that's pretty much it. And then you got the Pitbull's convention for bald, the largest bald gathering of people at a concert. And then what we talked about today, to bring you up to speed, since you were working on your lawnmower and whatnot, we had the Winter Olympics. U.S. is in third. I always think of them in first, but I understand the Winter Olympics. Usually, we're not, because we don't get as much snow as like Norway. Norway's doing great. Italy's second place. We're in third place in the Olympics. But are you caught up on the hockey game? If you're not, close your ears. Don, do you watch the women's hockey by any chance? I don't want to spoiler it for you. I'm going to tell you the score in a minute.
Go ahead.
I want to give people a chance to turn off their computer if they got taped.
Tell the world.
Waiting until they get home from work. and got, all the good food and the family ready, and now Joe's going to blow it for him. But so you had time to tune out if you do have it on TiVo or whatever you record with, Roku or whatever. So the Olympic team went down in the gold game, and they came back in dramatic fashion in overtime, and they won. We just lost half our audience, Don. But we'll be all right. You can come back and play. I understand. You got to go watch the Olympics. Remember, that's their recordable too. Hey, and then Don, tonight we talked about Board of Peace. Okay, so you have the World Board of Peace had their first meeting today, the new World Health Organization. So we're kind of bringing all this stuff in-house under Donald Trump, for better or for worse. Let's see here. I think that gives you a lay of the landscape, Don. Let me open it up with that. And was there anything in particular you want to talk about? Otherwise, I'll introduce story at a pace that we can talk about it. But anything on your mind this week?
So what is the agenda on this Board of Peace? What is their intention? What are they up to?
Well, you had good question. You had the World Peace Organization. What's the countries? They all pay the money in to defend each other. You attack on one is attack on the other.
NATO.
So you had NATO, and Donald Trump went there, and apparently, when he looked at the books, as a businessman, he wasn't too happy about it because a lot of the countries weren't even bothering to pay. Is the truth of it. But he kept paying, and he got as many people as he could to pay, and then I guess he got kind of tired of paying money into that for an organization that some would argue really never had any teeth. They would censure somebody or whatever, but nobody ever got fined or anything, to my knowledge. And you can correct me because I know you got that world general wisdom thing going on. But they were ineffective in Donald Trump's perspective, and so he brought in some world leaders. Not everybody was on board with this. Very controversial. You could see both sides of the argument, for sure. But he decided to kind of take control of that. And in its place, we withdrew from NATO, is my understanding. Correct me if I'm wrong. And in its place, we gave birth to the World Peace Organization. World Peace. So what are your thoughts on that, Don?
Did you hear Marco Rubio's speech a couple of days ago?
I did not, but I heard it was a tremendous speech. Fill me in.
Go back and you need to listen to that one maybe a couple of times. But
okay, he's a good speaker.
Well, it's I want to. He went back and addressed basically the birth of NATO in 1963 and what they came together for, to work together for, and what the crisis was in the world at that time. And of course, that was after World War II, and things had progressed, and the energy and the industry of the people in the Western Hemisphere and the Eastern and Europe, and they had kind of putting their lives back together. And then 1963, they were looking at the Cuban Missile Crisis, where it could create the greatest havoc we'd ever seen, and we thought we were behind those, or had those behind us. They thought that after World War I, and then after World War II. And so NATO, they kind of realized, they came together and realized we've got to come together, and so that doesn't happen, and that chaos was prevented. But then both the East and the West went on and became more and more open about and they both did it, East and West, complacent with the borders and with mass immigration, and what that does is, you lose your identity as a nation and as your sovereignty, and the problems that causes. And then it's related to then uniting now again to once again preserve civilization as we know it, Western civilization, which came out of the Eastern civilization. America is the child out of Europe, right? And
Right.
so that's what's being said, and it's an incredible appeal to say, hey, we'll stand together now again and move forward, and in light of what may or may not have to happen in light of Iran and their self-destructive behavior, and with the Islamist mentality that they have. And hopefully that can be avoided, but it doesn't look good.
Yeah.
And so America asked them, our preference is that we would all work together. But if they don't, then America will do what America has to do.
Yeah.
And so world leaders, they're in favor of that. It's like what happened when the bunker busting bombs were dropped. No one said anything for or against it, but they were very grateful for what had happened in terms of preserving the Western civilization. And now it's once again been brought back to critical mass by the Iranian regime. And we hope that the peace talks can prevail.
Yeah.
But as we know, it's peace through strength.
Yeah. Right. Well, I'm glad you brought that up. And I did see Donald Trump, I think it was today, he said that he'll be deciding whether we're bombing Iran within the next 10 days. And I didn't bring it up on the show just because I like to speak about the positive stories, and I feel like the lamestream media does an okay job on the if it bleeds, it leads stories and war and crime and anything that's burning or bleeding or hurting. I try to keep our stories positive, but that is an important news item, and I thought about bringing that up with our listeners and watchers, because I don't want them to be surprised, wake up middle of the night and we're bombing. I would like to give them notice. So I'm glad that you brought that up, the Iran thing. And
so what is less positive than preserving Western civilization?
yeah, that's true. Good point. Yeah.
Anyway,
I did hear a couple excerpts of Mario's speech, and I heard it on, I think, the Larry Elder show on the radio. I don't usually listen to the radio because I like to be more in control of what's going into my brain, and I find that very random. So I usually do YouTube or different things on my phone, podcasts and stuff, Spotify and whatnot. Just picking what I want to listen to, and then I can adjust the speed also on what I'm listening to, which I do quite frequently. I had the interesting experience of watching an interview, and one of the guys I liked at 1.5 speed, and the other guy had to have it 2 times speed. So I was switching back and forth as they were talking, the different speeds that I watched the video. But back to the NATO thing, Don. I probably would trust your wisdom on this more than mine. It sounds like you're not too disappointed as an American that we pulled out of NATO. I mean, that's been something we've counted on for how long has it been, around 50 years or something? More? Since World War II, maybe?
I think people need to look at much bigger picture.
Okay.
Than criticizing that which is preserving humanity and decency and civility, and bringing together people that don't necessarily like each other, but they understand the greater thing that's at stake. And by the way, everything I just shared with you, no, I don't go to mainstream media to learn what I learn and know what I know. They're about the last place I go to.
Yeah.
So no, and that's why you're doing things you're doing. But knowing now that I know that the type of things you want to talk about at 5 and 5, then I'll work on that.
No, like I said, I'm glad you brought it up because it's such an important story. We don't cover shootings, for example, but we covered Charlie Kirk. If something's a really big story, we're going to cover it here. And certainly if we're going to war with Iran, that's a real story. If we're, doing a tactical strike or anything.
Well,
and if the president said that, then that's important to know in the news.
But back to the Olympics, yes, we watched the Olympics at night.
Oh, okay. Oh, gosh. Were you going to watch this with your wife? Did I ruin that for you?
She's probably out and about, but I'm not going to tell her anything.
Okay.
Actually, yeah, but yeah, we realized, it got played a while back. So there are people that already know before, they get home. But whatever, it's very entertaining. Yes, the United States is, in terms of being at the top of the board, they're struggling in all the areas, but they're competing and keeping a good attitude, and that's what matters.
Curious what you think, Don. The Forbes 30-30 is out, and they had 30 founders under age 30 that were, the most productive entrepreneurs, or had the most rocket ship companies. Do you think you've been on the planet here for 50 more years than me, or something like that, at least 25? But do you think that it's easier to make money today for an entrepreneur than it was in the old days?
Both. I think it's easier for more people to make more money.
Okay.
Before. Yeah.
I been using the Grok a lot, to do the Grok Imagines, which are the videos, and of course it'll write for you. It'll do just almost everything for you. And if you're watching this and you're not doing Grok or any AI to augment your writing, you really want to be doing that. And I would go so far as to say, if you don't get on one of the AIs and create an image, you're probably falling behind right now. And I've said that here before. And it's not that you're going to make a living off of it or fall in love with it like I have, or that you even enjoy it. But I think it's super important to start to understand what AI is doing now and what it's about to be able to do. So I did a 3-scene one that was kind of like a Star Wars, a guy who's in the ship, and he's coming in for a shot. He's got one shot, and he's praying, God, give me one good shot. And it was 3 series of Groks, 3 of them that I posted, and then he hit the target, and of course the captain commended him, and the world was saved and everything. But we're coming into a time of just undescribable creativity, where people who used to be able to make movies were George Lucas, right? And another 1,000 people, couple thousands of people, maybe more worldwide, but nonetheless, you had to have a tremendous amount of money, and you needed a lot to make a movie. I think I'll be able to make a movie next year, Don, a 2-hour movie. I may have to do it 50 frames. I don't know how fast that's going to grow, but I imagine pretty quickly. It used to be you could do 6 seconds on Grok. Now you can do 10. They update it every couple of days. And I get that there are some that allow you right now to do a few minutes at a time, but I like the one that I got. It's easy to use, and it seems to be one of the top ranked ones. But so that's changing. But the other side of it, Don, I wanted to talk to you about. The jobs are changing too, and so I introduced a post today saying that I wanted to introduce to the world vernacular. How they put new words in the dictionary every year. I got a phrase, and it's that job went the way of the cashier. And if you've been to Walmart or anywhere where you purchase stuff in the last few years, you don't need to explain it, right? And there are just tons of jobs that used to be real, and they're not going to be anymore. I received a resume on a woman I mentioned here customer service manager. That's all she'd ever done her whole career. And I said, exaggerating a little bit, I never felt so sorry for someone in all my life, because I was exaggerating a little bit, but those jobs are gone, right? The cashier jobs are gone. And sure, there's exceptions to every rule, but some of these jobs are heading for the hills, Don, and they're not coming back. And so what are we going to do to train millions and millions of people how to do something different? Every day a new job is gone. One more example. So I saw a video of a model walking on a runway, and I said, well, you got probably a few years till the robots get better, right? For that job. But on an AI video created, there would be no reason to hire a model, right? You could do the model, the audience, the catwalk, the different clothes. You could do it so much easier on AI, and it would look totally real. The AI now is just completely real looking. You can't tell the difference. So I guess where I was going with all that, Don, is you were able to give the people some peace in the past on where they're going to work. Like some of these jobs are going to be gone, and Uncle Mikey isn't excited about going back to college to learn AI, right?
Well, what do you think people around the turn of the 1900s were saying about what are all the blacksmiths going to be doing?
Wow.
Now that Henry Ford has showed up.
Yeah, I guess he probably was a villain in his day for that, right? He was stealing all the jobs.
Everybody that forges those horseshoes, where are they going to go? Everybody puts those metal rims on those wooden wheels. What's going to happen to them?
So what did they do, Don? I wasn't live back then, but I know you were. What did they end up doing?
Man of all ages, I keep looking backwards and forwards and all around, and I see things. No, and so yeah. And you said a while ago, I have a question for you about AI, because you said what it does now compared to what it's going to do in the near future. So compared to what it does now, what are you saying it's going to do in the near future? What's it going to do more than even what you've already said?
Well, you mean in terms of the graphics or the videos and that sort of thing, or you mean other types of jobs?
Well, I mean, if that's that's why I didn't know exactly what you were meant by that, but this whole category of job, of what a job is, are those specific ones like cashiers.
A cashier job is gone, right? Because that's going to be just an ATM machine like it is now. And there are a whole swaths of category of jobs that are going to be gone soon. And so,
okay, let me think about it, then let's back up a little bit.
Okay.
30 under 30.
Yeah.
What industries did they?
AI.
Yeah. Okay. And what are they making? What are they producing with AI?
AI stuff, robotics.
Uh-huh. I mean, and so where does the robot come from?
Yeah, and he needs software. He needs to be trained. Yeah.
Yeah. Uh-huh. We're on the assembly lines and all that. And and so okay, how far can you get away from personal engagement and still be successful in business?
Yes, and I agree with you on that. However, did you know, just for an example, let's say you're a creator, and I'm kind of a wannabe creator, right? I create videos, I post them, I create, fun posts for people to laugh at, stuff that would make them think, stuff that might motivate them. And I post that stuff, and I got paid on it. I got my headhunter day job that I make my money on. But let's say I'm doing that for a living. The AI content has exceeded 50% of the content. And in many ways, it's not as good, but in some ways, sometimes it's better now. And so what do we do with all the people doing creative online posts and stuff for a living, both entertainment and edutainment, when the AI is better at creating content, for example?
You're taking one very small category, and what you're going to do, okay, let's just follow that to its logical conclusion.
Okay.
At some point in time, nobody trusts what they see.
True.
That's a loss of reality. That's a loss of identity.
If we aren't there already.
And that's what I'm saying to you. At some point, somebody has to go get in a truck and pull a lid off of a sewer out in the middle of the street and get down in there and take the microchip out of the pump that malfunctioned.
Okay. I think Elon Musk is doing that now with his Grokopedia.
At what point do you eliminate human beings completely from reality?
I can't really imagine that in the near future.
Huh?
I can't really imagine that in the near future.
But logically, what you're saying is if you just take AI to its logical conclusions, then that's it.
Yeah.
So here we are.
Thanks for firing everybody up, Don.
Yeah, well, good.
I'm just kidding.
I like living in reality myself. I have no problem at all with real intelligence. Okay? Real intelligence. I have no problem with that because artificial intelligence doesn't know who it is.
Don't you think it'll be sentient soon?
Do what?
Don't you think it'll be thinking soon? Sentient, alive, have a decision making. I don't know how we define sentient. How would you define sentient?
So you mentioned the future a while ago.
Yeah.
What they right now is we've come past the point of no return. You can't unplug it. You can still control it. The next phase is it takes over itself. Now what are you going to do? And you mentioned Elon Musk, and he's talking about, and in the third phase, it's a pretty terrible thing when you stop and think about it. We're not there yet. You can't. So the more and more a city relies on it to run all the functions, where you maybe used to have a human being standing there watching the gauges, and now you've got a machine watching. Okay. But how does that work when the system starts running itself, and whatever the pressure point was that something was going to blow, but you should have been prevented if they would have been if somebody would have known, a human being, but the system reroutes it and fixes the problem itself and keeps going and going and going. But the physical structure is still out there in the ground, or the poles are still in the air, or the lines are still going this way, and lightning strikes have done their damage. And so how can the power get through lines that are on the ground? And then AI starts, it can get very convoluted very quickly. And then, okay, then how do we stop that? So does that mean if we go out and reconnect the lines, are they going to work? Because they're connected to a outlaw system now.
Yeah.
How are you going to stop that? By the way, all these millions of lights are still off, and people are looking around in the dark.
Wow.
People are laughing at me, right?
Not necessarily. I'm not. I could see that.
Okay.
What if AI decides it doesn't want to power humans? Yeah, could happen. But I do like your encouraging message about Henry Ford, and where I thought you were going was the Industrial Revolution, which is, I guess, where we could have ended up, but you took it even better than that. There are always going to be jobs, right? And there's always going to be things to do, and the AI might create more jobs. Same thing happened with the computer revolution. Everybody thought the computers were going to take all the jobs. It didn't. They took the jobs that that the people who weren't willing to learn computers had. Everybody else learned to use the computer, and everything was good for them. But yeah, felt like you might have had more to say on that. If not, I'll introduce another topic for you.
Well, I mean, that is the point. AI does not have a soul. We do.
True.
It has no right and wrong.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good point, sir. Have you seen anything about this trial with Mark Zuckerberg? I guess it just started yesterday or something. So if not, it's okay. You're not too far behind. And I haven't seen hardly any of it. I just heard about it.
Oh, I saw a headline. That's it.
Yeah, they're talking about social media and how it's affecting kids. And there's a great movie called the Social. I got the wrong title, the Social Experiment or something like that. But it dives into the algorithm, and when you click on something, let's say that I click on something that is, try and come up with something that isn't politically charged. But let's say I click on basketball. Okay, now the AI thinks that I like basketball. Well, all I see all day from one day's end to the next is basketball, and same thing if it's a confrontation with ICE. If you click on one of those, guess what? Guess what you're going to be enjoying for the next several weeks. The AI thinks that you like that sort of thing because you clicked on 2 or 3 of them, and now it brings you more of that. I hate Donald Trump. I love Donald Trump. Whichever ones you're clicking on, that's what you're going to see more of. And that's why I love that graphic that says everybody lives in their own news bubble. It didn't used to be that way, but everybody has their own news bubble with the social media. And so with the kids, first of all, they don't know that because they're kids. And so what age is okay for them to get online? I think there's probably an age, right? You wouldn't let your 5 or 7-year-old get online, I don't think, unfettered. On the other hand, do we want to make laws about when people's kids can get online, right? That's really draconian. So what are your thoughts on that, Don?
When you say on that, there's several facets of that conversation.
Do you feel like AI is warping teenagers' brains, for example? Not AI, sorry, social media. Kids being on social media is messing them up when they used to be out playing football or baseball.
Well, I would say the lack of the nuclear family is messing kids up.
Well said.
Okay? Much bigger than that. There's always going to be something. If your nuclear family is falling apart, then there's always going to be crisis because of the nature of what family is and supposed to be. And so this is just another possibility to accelerate it, but it may or may not, depending on the core values of children and being able to discipline themselves, because how they've been instructed and seen by example how it works or does not work.
So what do you think about this guy, Mark Zuckerberg? He's just sitting there minding his own business, doing his billionaire, and he's building his company. And, he gets summons to appear in court because he's messing up somebody else's children. I mean, that's one view of it, right? The other view is the concerned mom. But does the government have a place here, Dom, where they need to censor Mark? Does he need to control what the people say on his platform? Is he responsible if someone gets radicalized, for example, watching something on Facebook? do we open up a can of worms? Free speech. Your thoughts?
Well, that's not free speech. That's people that want to cry victim and not accept responsibility for themselves. That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
This is about personal responsibility for themselves. That's why it's called the free enterprise capitalism.
Okay.
Nobody's making you be on Facebook. I'm sorry.
Right.
Get over yourself. You're addicted. Deal with your addiction, not with Facebook. Deal with your personal addiction and then go from there. That's where you need to spend your time.
Great point. And I don't know if this was fake news or not. It seems a little too on the nose, as Scott Adams used to say. But apparently, the folks who went into court with Mark Zuckerberg, they were wearing their Meta AI glasses into the courtroom, and the judge told them to take them off. And you know, I made a joke before you got on. You know, if you have any complaints about that, make sure you fax your judge. You know, get with technology. That's reality. People are going to be walking around with those computers on their head, and that's just how it's going to be, right? Or you feel different?
Now, do we hear what we're talking about? Free speech. Wait a minute.
That's important.
Let's talk about that.
Okay.
What do you mean by free?
Right.
By free, does that mean that you are the rule of law? Is that what free speech? No, that concept is in the Constitution. It's under the rule of law, which means I'm going into a courtroom of law, and the judge is the head honcho.
Right.
Okay. So if you walk in there and the judge, well, then they didn't walk in there with 6 guns strapped across their chest, did they? That would not be acceptable.
Right.
Okay. Because why? It's a courtroom. We're here for a very specific purpose.
Okay.
Look at the law because there's a plaintiff and a defendant. Now, what is this stuff? This is okay. The judge can say, this is my courtroom.
Right.
I come into your living room, I'm in your house.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you've invited me in there, hopefully I'm not in there to bring a summons. You won't like that anyway, or somebody that would do that. So it's people that don't even understand the first thing about what true liberty and freedom and independence is under the law.
Yeah.
And he's the administrator of it. He renders an opinion based on what the law says. He just doesn't wing it.
I agree with you, and we need to respect his authority there. And I think there are laws about having cameras in there, and all those AI glasses, of course, have cameras. So I don't know the full story. Okay, so
you're moving away from human reality. And that's what I'm saying. You see how? Okay, then why don't you just send your glasses in the courtroom?
I think that day's coming. You send your glasses, so to speak, into the doctor. Right, you appear on a screen for most meetings.
You're Joe. You're missing the point here. I'm sorry, brother.
That's all right.
Then AI eliminates a human being. What do you need humans for? Does AI then have free speech? Oh, wow.
I hope not.
Does the Constitution not apply to the AI? Whatever? It's artificial, folks, but it will take over and say it is the reality. And then, brother, you have chaos.
In a way, it's already taken over because it runs most of the algorithms. So you see what you see.
It takes over those who allow it to take them over.
Yeah.
Okay.
But you see what you see online when you go online because of what AI picks for you. And a human may have programmed it, but the AI shows you what the AI wants to show you.
Listen to what you're saying then. At some point then, only what's printed will be accepted as reality because it can be validated and witnessed. Okay.
Yeah.
It's going like this. This is what human nature does. They cycle. They repeat themselves in history.
Well, we talked about voter ID before you got on, Brother Don. I did 2 polls. I did one on LinkedIn and one on X. And my X followers, 99% said we should have voter ID. My LinkedIn followers, 90% on that poll, we should have voter ID. Can you think of any reasons why we shouldn't have voter ID? I know I asked you that last time, but you had such a good explanation. I figured I'd touch on it again.
No, I am not going to argue for that side of it. We should have voter ID, period.
Most countries do. I think that's the most important item.
Can I add a word? Can we have?
Yeah.
We're supposed to have valid IDs, but real IDs. Those are the real people.
I agree.
Okay.
I think you're going to get a lot of likes on the stream.
They are illegally. They are legal citizens.
You know, yeah, we need voter ID, and I think that's probably the most important item in the world right now, in the Americans, world right now, because of how important it is to people, but also because of the proximity. So you had it passed by the House, and it's got to be passed by the Senate now because 80% of America wants it, and so I think it's important to punch that through the goal line. The American people want it; they should get it.
We also talked about the ballots and the machines. You can have the photo ID, but who controls the machines?
Right.
Now you're back to AI.
Yeah.
See, who controls those machines? We've already had major problems with this.
I agree. Let's go back to paper ballots. I remember we had paper ballots, and except for the Chad year, I always knew who was going to be my president the next day.
Paper ballots.
I love it. Let's do paper ballots. There's no argument to have the machines. Okay, other than fraud, right? I hate to say it, but if you want to save money, a lot of those folks are volunteers. There's more volunteers that would volunteer to count votes than you would need. That's how we used to do it. And then the other argument is it saves time. Okay, maybe, but how long did it take to get our results for the last few elections? A lot longer than if you'd have counted them originally by hand. So we're in agreement on that, I think.
We would trade our sovereignty for convenience.
Yeah. Well said, brother. Well, what else is important, Don? A lot of fraud going on. We're wasting about 15 to 30% of our tax dollar to fraud, pickpockets, waste, fraud. What do they call it? Fraud, waste, and abuse. What do you think we ought to do on that? We talked about it last time, but any other insights on how to fix that fraud problem?
Give them time. They're working on it more than any other administration in history.
Okay, cool. I think we pretty much covered the news, Don. Yeah, the rest is just robots fighting fires, 30 under 30, laptops, the prayer call with the Hallow app, and the shirtless workout for RFK with Kid Rock. I think we're down to Pitbull, brother. That means we're probably, when it's down to Pitbull, it's probably Gangnam Style. We'll probably catch up with you next week.
Okay.
Anything else you want to talk about?
It's all good,
That's
man.
his famous song, Gangnam Style.
Do what now?
Bunch of hits. Huh?
I'm sorry, I interrupted you.
No, what did you say? Gangnam Style?
No.
Okay.
I just think we need to rock and roll, enjoy life in the real world of intelligence.
The real intelligence.
The real intelligence. Human beings are hilarious. Let's just stick with it.
I made a satirical post about how long before we see this, and it was a couple out at a concert, and all of the musicians playing guitar and drums, and they were all robots. And to the singer, to everybody. Hey, it's been great talking to you, Don. I always feel a peace come upon me when I'm allowed to speak about the news, the political subjects, and things that, man, a lot of people don't want you talking about them, but I really don't mind talking about them with you, and I appreciate you.
Well, appreciate the time, man. Have these discussions.
And I appreciate you for tuning in and watching this, whether you watched us live or after the fact. Feel free to like and subscribe and share the post or clips of it, repost, all that good stuff. And Don will be back next Thursday. And Don, I apologize for only giving you a minute's notice this time, but I'm scrambling because the news is dynamic and I can't send you that link. I don't think I probably can. Do you happen to know if it was the same link from the week before that you used to get in?
I don't know. I just finally got in there and got it clicked.
So yeah, I can't send you the link till I start the stream, and I was literally scrambling to get all the news together for the 5 and 5 today. But
I hear you. Appreciate it.
We worked it out, didn't we? It was a good show. Thanks, brother.
All right, man. Appreciate you.
Good night. Good night, everyone. See you tomorrow.